Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land. Welcome to the Elvis Nation Show, episode 5. Who would have thought, right? I am having a ball doing all this, and I hope you're having a good time watching it. We got a great one lined up for you. And before we get down to the fun, though, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, because if you're watching this and you don't subscribe, you're hurting the channel. And I'd rather have you love me instead of hurt me. That's just the way I am. And also, please share the videos wherever you see fit. Also, pound that like button if you like what you see today. And so what we're going to do right now is visit our old friend Leon in the Leon Lounge. Let's go.
As I say, when I was watching that reaction this morning, and I don't think I've ever been so worried about a reaction. Now, of course, we fell into Suspicious Minds this week by accident because It's Only Love didn't get past the YouTube copyright bots. So I'm thinking, and as I explained to you, when you've got a 6-minute version of Suspicious Minds and you don't have any actual video, you've only got a photograph and you've only got the video, and it's Elvis is repeating the same verse over and over and over and over again. You think to yourself, how's that going to go down? Is he going to get bored with this? It's 50 minutes long. Is he going to get bored with this?
I'm going to tell you what, right? Because I think some people think that. Here's my take on that. When you're watching and listening, you're dividing the senses. I mean, you know, and sometimes I prefer it when it's just the song, because I can 100%, I think I'm going deeper into the audio components than I would if I had the distraction of the video.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of like those moments where it's the picture, because the audio becomes that much more clear. The certain things you're pointing out scream out at you a lot more. I would probably say the one I probably gleaned the least from audio-wise was the 4th version, because there was such awesome video to that. Where had I just turned the video off from that and listened to it, I might have heard a few more things I didn't even realize.
Yeah. The other thing I should mention about the live about any live stuff that I put up like that especially is that the photograph you're seeing is almost always from the show that you're watching.
Yeah.
Except if it's not from that show, because there's nothing available, it will either be from the very same tour, as close as possible to that show, or in the case of Vegas or Tahoe, from the same engagement. So that's why, and I think you picked up on that when you saw the one in Houston.
Was that the one where he had the press conference before there?
No, that was 1970.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay,
that was the first time he appeared at Houston, and I mentioned this in the commentary. The acoustics in that first show were awful. Elvis could hardly hear the band that was just feet behind him. He could hardly hear them. There's the audio. There is audio. All the shows are out there, the audience recordings of them, but the sound, even the sound on that, is very, very bad. They were good enough shows. So I think what they did with when it came back to the Houston Astrodome again in '74 was they reduced the size of the stage. Now you see that Ronnie Todd had those screens.
Yeah, they were were they glass dividers or something, or
probably perspex. Probably perspex.
I can't walk out now because I love you too much, baby. Whoa, 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 whoa. Why can't you see? Why can't you see what you're doing to me? When you don't.
Okay.
I think that worked in roughly the same way as you would have the singer maybe behind something when he's in the recording studio, because certainly American Sound in '69, that's where the band were out, but Elvis was actually separated in a. It's more like a cubicle, should I say, because it wasn't like completely enclosed, but it was just so that I think it was all to do with the acoustics in the actual recording studio itself. Mm-hmm. And I think that's partially this was to try and get around some of these problems. But this is the days before, of course, where those acoustic problems would be probably nowadays would be you would be able to circumvent that by having the artist having the singer having an earpiece in where he could hear the band. But these are the days before that was possible. So that's why. To answer your question, March 1970 was the original press conference for Houston. It's dead easy to go off on a tangent.
Well, I think I think the great thing about I would tell anybody who listens to the live comparison series, is that you're really fooling yourself if you just listen to them all through once and you think you got the whole picture down. Because I can guarantee you, Leon, if I went back and reacted to things, if I did it the whole thing over again, I guarantee you I would have new things that I didn't even realize were going on before.
Of course.
So it's one of those things you can take that dive and do that. And I think not only does it serve as a way of you learning something about the work and the ingenuity that goes into something, but I also think this is our way. It's going to sound really stupid, so I apologize. I think in some ways we owe that to Elvis, like saying he was more than, you know, I can't stand it when people walk around, hey, thank you, ma'am. Oh, God, I hate that. He was freaking Rembrandt, okay, of the voice. He wasn't supposed to be dwindled down to a little thing. And I think this actually kills the icon aspect of it. Because an icon, to me, sometimes there's a superficial bit about being an icon. You're glittery, you're showy. And I'm like, no, under that was an artist who collaborated with other amazing artists. And there's just some sound glimpses into a whole different world that could just shake your senses crazy. And it could reinvent. I want Elvis's image like reinvented. You know, anything we did to bastardize it. I know people didn't mean it intentionally, but we cartoonized it to a degree.
It's almost a caricature.
Yes.
Yeah, it's almost a caricature. I mean, you see, when you have this image, the popular image, and I say popular as in how most people see it, you see the Elvis in Vegas, this bloated man with a white jumpsuit covered in rhinestones. Now, for us, none of that so far is even close accurate. You look at Elvis in 1970, and that's the way it is. That's Elvis in Vegas. Thin as a pin, vocally at his peak, and untouchable. And people don't see that. I've seen people say, I don't like Elvis in Vegas, blah, blah, blah. I've put on That's the Way It Is, and they're going, pop, the jaw just drops. You see it in other reaction videos where they react to Bridge Over Troubled Water. And the reaction from them is, I didn't know Elvis could sing. And I'm going, I can't. In one hand, you have the pleasure of seeing the penny drop. But on the other hand, you have the exasperation of going, how do you not know that Elvis could sing?
Yeah.
Do you know? So you're getting, it's a double whammy. But it's good that people are getting the realization of that.
Yeah.
All the same, it's.
Yeah. If I can get one person to think differently about Elvis, I'll feel like, well, I made a contribution, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, see, we were talking about caricature there. We're talking about the stereotypical image of Elvis. Even if you take the 42-year-old Elvis in 1977, 6 weeks before he died in Rapid City, that's an Elvis who's undeniably overweight, but not that much so for a 42-year-old man.
Yeah.
A man approaching, I mean, it really irks me as if Elvis in 1977 should look the same as he did in 1956.
Do any of us look the same as we did when we were 21?
Exactly. And as I say, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I mean,
Well,
it's.
It's so weird that you mentioned that, because when I was talking with Dylan, we mentioned that about how there's a body image superficial thing about that, because had Elvis stayed thin but yet he was deep into heroin, they would have found that cool, or something like Keith Richards, where like if Keith Richards, instead of doing heroin, went to the buffet and he got 250 pounds or whatever, that would have been more inexcusable than, God forbid, he remained thin in a junkie.
But it's important to understand why Elvis was carrying that weight, and it's absolutely plain and simple. Elvis, when he was in the army, was given uppers to keep himself awake in the cold when he was on sentry duty. So in Elvis's mind, the army have given us there's nothing wrong with that. So Dr. Nick prescribed Elvis uppers, and he got to the point where Elvis thought, this is fine, it doesn't matter, I'm taking these, the army's told, the doctor's given them, they're okay, they're on prescription, they're fine. So the problem with having the uppers was that you need the downers to sleep. Mm-hmm. So you take the downers to sleep, and then what happens is you sleep for 2 days. Mm-hmm. And then you wake up, you slept for 2 days, the first thing you want to do is eat. Elvis is from the south, the southern diet is quite cholesterol heavy, calorie heavy, so you eat. Then you put on a little bit of weight. Then something like Aloha
Your
from
metabolism
Hawaii
slows down too.
Of course it does. And then Aloha from Hawaii comes along, for example, at the start of 73. So in the middle of the back end of 72, the producer of that, Marty Paseta, says to Elvis, look, you're going to have to lose weight. So Elvis says it's fine, but it's crash diet, which is, again, isn't good. And then you get into 70, 73, 74, 75, and it's the case of crash diet to go on tour, and then you're taking the uppers, and you're taking the uppers, the downers, and you're taking the uppers to counteract that. So you're putting on the weight every time you wake up. It's not a case, and it's not a case of Elvis was taking anything like, as you say, heroin, cocaine.
No, in fact,
like
he trusted so much in the legitimacy of that.
Of course,
and there's another aspect too, Leon. When you are stressed and have constant demands, you release more cortisol. Okay. Yeah. One of the side effects of constant cortisol release is one of them is your blood sugar hikes. You store fat. Mm-hmm. Okay, so think about that. With everything that's already happening, mm-hmm. and a lot of that too. If you look at his face, and I only know this from my medical background, is that this wasn't just okay like this. Okay, this is a guy who loves. I love food. Okay, if you look at his, a lot of that was symptomatic bloat.
Yeah,
from what he was taking, there's a big difference. Yeah. Between that, this was a guy who just wasn't healthy, and even sometimes that can even happen when you do all that stuff and you don't even eat that much. It could, people, especially if he takes any kind of steroids or anything, that could puff up your face. And I just think that, people are cruel. I struggle with a lot of emotional issues, and I self-medicate. It's a constant battle. So that's without me having the colonel telling me I have to throw my ass on stage 10 times more longer than what my body has the ability to expend that energy. I got to meet this obligation, that obligation.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He lasted 20 times longer than I think a lot of us would have. Let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's why I think they need to look at it from another angle. The fact that he lasted as long as he did, and he's still okay. Like that the 10th performance, he wasn't as agile before when we saw that grainy footage from the fan footage, but that was still better than half of us who would have been one half as sick as he was.
Absolutely. Well,
that's what people don't realize.
Well, what's the irony there is, and again, it's something that I mentioned in the commentary, that was the second show of that August 1975 engagement. But that engagement only lasted 5 shows, and then Elvis had to go to hospital, and the rest of the engagement was cancelled through exhaustion. And then Elvis came back in December to fulfil the contractual obligations, but it was mostly just 1 show a night at that point. There was the occasional two shows, and then in his final Las Vegas engagement in December '76, it was 1 show a night, and that was it. So it started, and then from '77, and then from the tours in '77. It was again it was 1 show a day, and that's it, and that was it. So the 2 show a days had stopped by that point, but I think it was too little, too late. But we seem to forget that. I mean, what artist today would be asked to do 4 shows, 2 shows a night for 4 weeks in the same venue?
Yeah,
in the same venue.
Yeah. I mean,
Dinner show and
then,
even then, those shows between the 2 start times are only 4 hours apart. 8 o'clock and midnight. I mean, I think the biggest star in the world should never have been subjected to that. Never.
No, it's abuse, and let's call it what it is. And I mean, now when you look at artists today, we haven't been on the road in 3 years, so this should be fun again. Elvis would probably go, yeah, it must be nice. Like, you just get to sit back and take that kind.
Is it any wonder that Elvis didn't want to go into the recording studio when it came to '76, and that's why he had to record in the Jungle Room, because he just didn't want. The motivation's not there, because you see, if you're on the road all the time and you're getting virtually no down, you're getting very little downtime. Yeah. Then why would you want to go and do a recording in the recording studio? I know you've got a contract to fulfill, but if you feel perhaps the terms of the contract are perhaps unfair, or that your manager's not looking after you in the way that he should be, because I think what Colonel, and I don't want to get into the Colonel Parker thing, because we can get really bogged down on that. But when you think about the fact that your manager works for you, not the other way around. Yeah. It's like sports agents. Sports agents work for the players.
You fire them if you don't like that they're not getting you enough gigs to promote yours. Yeah,
absolutely. But it seems to evolve the other way, so quite a lot of the time. But
yeah, well, I think instead of also a codependent relationship requires both people to play a role, and I think one flaw that Elvis saw as a virtue was, I would call it, malignant loyalty. Loyalty is an amazing thing, but only if you show it to the person worthy of that loyalty. Yeah. And I know Elvis didn't want to let him down, and I can't say I know that. I mean, I'm saying I'm extrapolating that based on the way he allowed it to happen, because Elvis certainly had a lot more clout. He could have stood up for himself a lot more. And I think he came from that era, it's still yes, sir, Yeah,
absolutely.
And where any musician today would just say, you're so fired, man, get your butt out of here. We have just released It's Only Love, and that's First Take to Master series. Leon, I'm going to tell you what, the First Take to Master series, it is a brilliant series that focuses on the evolution of a song. And the first thing I got to point out, what stuck out more to me than anything, is this was not an effortless endeavor. It looked like Elvis was trying to find his way to the song. Am I right on that?
Yeah, if you notice, he was having a lot of trouble with one part of the song where he even had to, it got to the point where he had to change the lyrics, because it was really, really struggling, which shows that that even the best really have to work even to get to where they want to get to. It doesn't always come effortlessly. As much as the finished product sounds effortless, and once Elvis changed it, it really did become that way. The line, "There must be something else for me, girl," was originally, "I woke up in my dream," and you notice it just, no matter how many times Elvis did it, it just wouldn't work, and you could hear himself getting angry about getting angry about it. But I think the finished product is actually one of my favorites. It's Only Love. It's really a song that I really like. It has a kind of, I think it kind of has a disco vibe to it, in a way.
There is that little beat, that rhythmic kind of thing.
You know, funnily enough, when I was a teen, so we're talking about maybe about 17, 18, when I had my peers and I'm trying to listen to Elvis, and they actually said to me that probably has the best beat of any Elvis song that they'd heard. And I can kind of see where they're getting at, because it's got that way all the way through it. But I did say to you beforehand that you would see that even the best struggle, and you've seen that and that. But it doesn't matter how good you are in any endeavour, any talent you have, whether it be in sport, whether it be in the arts, or whether it be in music. If you don't put the work in, you're not going to get the result time after time after time. And you've said it before, that when you hear Elvis in the studio, you can hear what a workhorse he was. Yeah,
definitely. And not only that, but I thought of it this way, and I actually mentioned it, being that at the time of this taping, I haven't released it because we're waiting for it to get out of copyright jail. But I said during the presentation, what was interesting was that if you have the top tier musicians there and you're still having a hard time finding your way through, finding the place that's in your head, kind of what you're going for. But I said in the video, it's something akin to, but yet he has to kind of paddle a boat out into this like mysterious ocean to find it. So if you have these top tier musicians, could you imagine how much more of a difficult thing it would have been if you just had average musicians? Like that, you're already dealing with the top most intuitive people that can read you. And if they're kind of sitting there trying to work their way to that point of desired effect, that would have taken 5 times as longer for a lesser band and artist to have found their footing.
Absolutely right. And I really I think that is one of the most. It's Only Love's definitely one of the most enlightening first take to the masters that you'll get. There are some other ones where you'll get the same sort of vibe that Elvis is having to work hard to get to it. But on the other hand, there are other ones that will do where from start to finish it's almost effortless right through, and there's very little that needs to change between the first take and the master. But it's good to see that there is a contrast between that. And when I was first started putting the first take to the masters together, see, what's happened with the takes is you do have some bootleg labels who release entire sessions, and then you also have, when Sony release them, you're getting all the takes. But in both cases, neither seems to be complete. There seems to be edits here and there, bits missing. So the pleasure that I have is that getting the complete take one, rather than maybe it may be something as simple as the counting is missing, or it might be that there's a false start and then the complete take, and the false start will last only about 5 seconds. Maybe the band started and Elvis wasn't ready or something like that. But I try to find the one that's most complete and put that in, and that's the pleasure that you get. And so it's which means that even if you have, say, a collection from that session, there might just be something new in there that you can hear, and that's the good thing about having all that to get that together. And it's quite surprising how, when you're putting it together, that you're getting that fly in the wall, feel yourself, even though you've heard it before. Yes, because I'm putting them back to back to back, and then I'm going back again, and I'm putting maybe the album art there, or I'm putting the caption on. And what I do is, when the caption's going up, I've also got it playing as well, so I'm listening at the same time. So I'm getting the double play, the double pleasure out of it. So and I think the first take to the master that I sent you was pretty straightforward. There wasn't an awful lot of studio chatter in it, and there are going to be ones where there aren't a lot of studio chatter in it. It is just purely Elvis. Because remember, you got to remember, it's all about where the recording button was pressed, and there are some where maybe it's only 5 takes, and maybe only 2 of those are complete takes, but you still get. It's still good to be that fly in the wall, and that's
sure.
the way I see it. Yeah.
Well, I think, Leon, what's also awesome about this is that there is an effect that takes place. Like, that's really interesting about the first take to master thing, because it is so immersive. There are moments where you're so deep into what you're listening to. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you what, you know where you're at, but in a way you also feel that you've left wherever room you're sitting in. Like, you're really feeling this real flesh and blood organic thing in real time, even though it's decades ago. You really feel like you're in that moment. It is such an immersive thing. Now, I will say, I'm so glad you did this. I would have freaked out, because whenever we go through those, when you list the take 1, take 2, I'm so glad you specified, because I have to pay attention to each of that, because what I do is I cut them each up. But when they were saying the wrong take numbers and stuff, I go, thank God he's clarifying this. I would be like but what I was saying about the first take, I mean, it's just so easy to lose yourself in that.
It is.
And it's awesome.
I think what's now whetted my appetite now is that just recently, you've done the live comparison to Suspicious Minds. So I think not the next one, but the one after, I think we'll do the first take to the master on Suspicious Minds, since we've done the live comparison, and that's quite a.
Wow. Well, I'm already expecting like Atlas Shrugged holding this on my shoulder, because this is a biggie. You know what I mean?
And this is a song which does sound almost as good without any overdubs as it does with the overdubs. And of course, it's Memphis '69, isn't it? So it's Elvis at the top of his game. So we'll make that the one after next, because there is one that I want, the next first take to the master, that I want to get in from the Graceland sessions in between. It's actually a favourite of mine, but I don't know if a lot of other people will agree with me on that. It's a song that I've always liked, but I'm not going to say any more on that, because
well, you know what I look forward to? It's funny, because when you think of television, you're so in the present.
Yeah.
But like, we really actually have we each have our own little business that picks up while we're sleeping. People are watching while we're sleeping. Yeah. And what gets me kind of happy about this is that, assuming YouTube is around all these years from now, like, I would love it after like 10 years after I'm dead, if someone like finds the channel and then says, I want to go to all these like first take to master things, knowing that someone like 40 years from now is like being totally turned on by this stuff. I'm going, I don't know who these 2 old guys were back then, but man, this was some cool stuff. They were really, now I get what Elvis was going through, because there is no other Elvis thing out there where you're being escorted through the process.
Yeah. See, I was actually wondering this the other day, because I'm virtually in an Elvis bubble, right? So I mean, my musical knowledge out with Elvis is not bad, but it's not particularly good, other than perhaps the most well-known songs by a lot of artists. But do other artists release session albums like this, where you can get all the takes?
There have been a few, like Brian Wilson in '96 released the Pet Sound Sessions, and that was actually, and maybe that's why I warmed up to this so easily, because I got that back in 96, okay? And you hear him talking with the musicians and you hear the false starts. And I think to someone who appreciates the rough assembly all the way to the finished product, that's a real treat. That's to someone who has that curiosity. Like some people, I guess that's just them. They don't see like, hey, you know, I just want to eat the donut. I don't care to look at the bag of flour and
Of course.
hear the guy, let's mix the sugar and the confection, whatever.
Yeah.
But I am like that because I think when you have recordings that have changed the cultural landscape, it would just, in my mind, I think it would behoove someone to say, wouldn't you want to see the magic behind the scenes? I mean, it's no different than watching a documentary about how they made Star Wars or something. A lot of people are interested in that. I want to see what went right, what didn't go right, and all of it.
Well, I see exactly what you're saying, and we're also doing the same sort of thing with That's the Way It Is, if you think about it, because we're working our way through the rehearsals until we get to opening night, and that's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it is, because you're looking at the rehearsal and then you're getting the finished product when we actually get to opening night. So, I think that if you're going to embrace that, although it's all happening almost in the same day in the first take to the master, as opposed to spread over a couple of weeks with the That's the Way It Is rehearsals, the process is still the same. It's a case of getting the song, ironing out all the creases, and then getting it to exactly the way you want it, and that's how you present it to the public.
Right.
That's the easy.
Yeah, and I think I actually used a stupid analogy with the donut thing or whatever, because donuts aren't magical, you know? You're not like, I really need to know what they went through to make this eclair because there's magic here happening. I want to know what the chef or what the baker was thinking at that moment when he sprinkled the sprinkles on it or whatever, added the chocolate icing. No, but with these songs, they're magical. And to know that there's a very human process to get from the raw to that pristine magic. Yeah. That's a magic in and of itself.
Yes, it definitely is. It definitely is. I mean, I just did a first take to the master on a song that we've actually done in one of the soundtracks. I did King of the Whole Wide World, which is from Kid Galahad, which we did a soundtrack reaction to that a few months back. And what's interesting about this one, I don't want to spoil it too much, obviously, because I know that you'll want to do your own thing on this. But there was 28 takes, and the song evolved through those 28 takes, and you've also almost got 3 different versions of the song through those 28 takes. And I'm thinking to myself, Elvis did 5 songs in that session, and that single one took 20. How could you have the patience?
Get that either.
No, I don't see you could have the patience, but
not only the patience, but to actually have the pipes and the ability to try to put your best into each one.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because we just did Jailhouse Rock a few weeks back there, and the first take to the master of Jailhouse Rock will be coming your way obviously in the future. I don't think we've done one from the 50s yet. But the only thing that I'm going to say about that, and I'm only mentioning it because you mentioned about pipes, is that the master is a splice of 2 takes, because Elvis's pipes couldn't sustain that vocal all the way through the song, because he's putting so much into it. You know, he's got that raspy sound when he's singing Jailhouse Rock.
Yeah, because I did a couple of alternate takes on one of my reaction videos, and I don't know if that made that collection you did. But I remember, like, he was really, like, there was one point where, if I'm not mistaken, he said something like, my voice, I gotta, like, he had to work himself into it to keep going or something. And
Yeah, so I think they eventually took the decision at the end that, well, we'll take some of this take and some of that take, splice it together and get a master. And there's no shame in that at all. Absolutely no shame in that at all, because especially when it is taking such a toll on the vocal cords. In order to get that vocal effect that Elvis was going for in Jailhouse Rock. But again, it just comes back to what we were talking about It's Only Love, that if you don't, you really have to put the work in, and it's not as simple as just standing up to the microphone and opening your mouth and just letting it go. There's an awful lot more to it than that, and that's why you think when you earn that much, you really are working for the vast amount of money that you're actually earning, because you really are having to work hard. I mean, it's perhaps not laborious in a way as moving a lot of heavy objects or whatever you're doing in your normal job that one of us would do. But at the same time, having all that talent and just opening your mouth isn't what makes you the superstar. It's and I think we're saying this almost ad nauseum, but it's an important point to make. The work has to be put in order to get that finished product. And Elvis certainly, you can see through all these first take to the masters that Elvis certainly did put that work in.
Well, and like I said, I'm not putting anyone down, but I've seen people with reaction videos, they just use a cheap camera and they don't even bother editing. And, even when they say, okay, we'll check out next time, you see their hand go toward the lens to shut it off. And I'm thinking, I put so much more work into what I do. I want it to be as good as what it can be with what I can afford and what technology I have at my avail. Because I think you and I, in our own way, have a perfectionist streak. And, I'm going to look at the video quality of this right now. This is going to make me cringe a year from now.
Yeah.
God, were we ever so young and naive?
It's funny because I'm actually going to agree with you wholeheartedly in here, because I put an announcement up on the community part of my channel to say that, as well as the Wednesday and Sunday,
I saw that.
Yeah. I'm going to put some movie songs up on the Monday, because somebody did ask about that. But the first video that's coming on Monday is actually one that I've taken down, re-edited, and put back up again. Simply because perfectionism. I wasn't happy with it, and this has given me an opportunity. The video, if I'm being honest, the video is sitting away down almost at the bottom views-wise. So, to be honest, I'm not going to lose a lot by re-uploading it. But the perfectionist in me says, before I start putting anything new up, I want to fix any of these movie song ones that I don't think are right.
That's why I took there's about 40 Elvis songs that are missing from my menu right now, because I took them down because there are a few of them that I just think were poor quality with the equipment I had. And not only that, but there were some really early ones where I really didn't totally know what I was doing yet. I would just talk and I just wasn't aware of good editing. And I'm just like, okay, here's a rule of thumb. If I'm wearing sunglasses, it sucks. Okay. Those are my earliest videos. And I'm like, they really totally suck. And I'm like, I almost would want to pay to have those out of circulation. I think I still have a couple up there that, and I said, do I want to just re-record it and do it the right way? But I'm telling you what, there's the thing too. I had to stop at that, because I will keep doing that and doing that and doing that. Sometimes you do have to just say, you did the best you could at the time, move on. Because Leon, if that's the case, I will re-record everything 5 more times to make it, well, I didn't like the way it was in that. I want to switch the graphics around. And there's a point where I gotta, like George Lucas once said, projects are never completed, they're abandoned. It's like, oh God, I just saw something on the Suspicious Minds thing I did. I'm like, okay, with the little Elvis Nation logo was off and it was a little off center. Should I go and take this down and I'm like, no, I gotta stop at some point. So perfectionism can be a really manic kind of thing at times, you know? It's like, but I want to give people the best, though. That's the thing. I want people to say, hey, I'm having a good time. It looks good to look at. I'm leaving my life the way I know it for a few minutes to be with this person. I want to give them. But then again, sometimes I look at those home movie type things that people film for their reaction. I go, maybe they're doing it right. I'm the one who's trying to make this look too professional or something. Maybe I just need to sit on a toilet or whatever and talk about, like, I saw one reaction guy not even wearing a shirt. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Really? I'm not going to go that informal. And not knocking that person, but it just, first of all, if I did that, I would only do that if someone said, I'll give you $50 to get rid of every subscriber that you have in 2 minutes. That's the only pretense I could picture doing that. But telling you what, Leon, I think we have a good thing here. And I want to encourage everybody again. And I'm going to say this every time I talk to Leon in the lounge, because I really believe that you should go in. This is the preferred way. I'm telling you how to make a sandwich right. You go to Leon's channel, which I have the link for. Go and listen to that special. Give yourself a day off. Then come and listen to our thing. Then after you've taken that on, go back and listen to Leon's thing. I'm telling you what, it's going to feel like this complete experience.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. Guess what I listened to? I went and re-listened to your Suspicious Minds last night. So I was just having a ball with it. And people go, oh, do you watch your reaction? I go, no, not mine. I go and watch Leon's version. I go, why do I want to hear myself? I don't want to, I never watch myself. So, but Leon, I want to thank you so much. So we'll keep you guys updated out there, what we got coming next. And go to Leon's channel. Do you got anything new cooking at your channel, Leon, that you might want to talk to them about?
No, it was just that on Mondays now we're going to have the movie songs re-edited with the stereo RCA audio. So that just to enhance that, and obviously if it's available in HD, it'll be up in HD.
And thank you very much, Leon. Always great chatting with him. And we're now going to head in to the casino to see who's going to win today on the Wonder Wheel. Let's do it. And welcome to the Elvis Nation Show Wonder Wheel. This is how it works. If you have left a comment on the previous episode, your name is automatically placed on the Wonder Wheel for the next episode. I spin the wheel, and whoever's name lands gets a free Elvis song reaction of their choice that will air within 1 or 2 to 3 days after they win. Now, the winner must visit the comment section of this episode and list 1 request and 2 alternates in case I've already reacted to 1 or 2 of them. Good luck, everybody. Okay, let's see who gets lucky today. Oh my God, I got to tell you about this band. You got to check them out. I will put a link on my description box because they cook on stage. They have a lot of Elvis-esque fire to them. And I even did a reaction to one of their songs on my other channel. So check these guys out. Okay, list an Elvis video you want me to react to, and I'll be happy to expedite it. Thank you so much for playing. Okay, I'm telling you what, I am so geeked for this one. This week's Fan Files, we are featuring Michelle, who is more commonly known to everybody out there in the Elvis YouTube community as Elvis Lass, the best Elvis reactor out there. And I'm not saying that to be falsely modest. I truly, truly mean it. She is just awesome. And we're going to be featuring this interview in 3 sections. So over the next 3 weeks, we'll be having the pleasure of hanging out with her. So without further ado, everybody, Michelle, aka Elvis Lass. Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land. We have a guest I've been waiting for a while to chat with. This is going to be awesome. We know her as Michelle, but those of you out in the greater YouTube community might know her as Elvis Last, the best reaction channel out there, may I add. And I don't say that to appear obsequious to a guest or anything. I really mean it. How are you doing today?
I am fabulous. Thank you very much. And right back at you. I've been watching you since the Reactioneer. So before you separated the two channels.
Yeah.
So I was watching you way back then.
Oh.
But I'm just not on my comment because I watch on the big telly downstairs.
Yeah.
So sometimes I don't get into comment. So then I have to remember to go back onto my mobile phone and comment. So I'm really poor at that part. But I have been watching a while.
Oh, that means a lot. Thanks. And that was not a paid endorsement, by the way. That's
no.
I usually joke that I have to pay for compliments and stuff. And no, but
and I love your Connie Francis as well. I'm loving that part.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those things like when you have an artist like Connie Francis, they're kind of so institutionalized into just the sounds of that time period. And I think you just get so used to hearing those things on the radio that you don't really stop and listen and go, there was really something amazing there. Because when it's played over and over again, I think it takes like the luster away from it. And then when you go back and you go, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are doing that with Elvis. And, you know, I caught one of your video series that you were doing. And those were like those Elvis moments. And you did the Can't Help Falling in Love. Those great little moments there. How did you put that together? Did that just hit you one day to do a segment of those kind of videos, or?
Yeah, I think someone sent me a clip, and it was from the Can't Help Falling in Love, and I'd heard it before way back when. My husband is a ginormous fan, like Leon, so I was running to him, and so he had played it to me, and he said, "You've heard that loads of times," and I was like, "No, but I need to re-listen this every time." So then I thought, you know what, let's isolate it just a little bit and play it. Because I've seen people on YouTube doing the notes, but they'll have a talk before it and they'll maybe discuss it, and it's about a 3-minute long video then. So then I just thought, let's make this 24 seconds. So you're just isolating notes, and then you can just I've got millions of them. They're scheduled up for weeks to come.
It's so appropriate for the TikTok age. I mean, you know, the short attention span theater. I love that because what I like about your channel is you not only have the reactions, but you do like oddball takes on things that really make it where you don't have an idea of what's coming next. Like devoting a whole day to trailers. Who would have thought of doing something like that? And I thought that was cool. You did Spin Out a few weeks back, and I thought, oh wow, it was cool because it was right around the time I had that up, and I go, oh my god, that's so cool. Then to see the trailer for it, and did you? First of all, your channel, you bring what I would guess from the outsider looking in. You bring someone that has a very sweet, passionate take on Elvis Presley. Very reverential. And when I say passionate, not syrupy, like I'm a psycho-obsessed fan, but someone who just is truly in love with his sound and everything he was about. And I tell you what, I tell people all the time, if you're not genuine, it will show. And I think that if there's one word that really defines what your channel is, complete genuineness, because you see the adoration in your eyes when you're replaying this. It's like you're replaying your favorite moments in the history of your life. And I think that's the thing. When you set out, did you know right away how you were going to present the material, or did you have to kind of toy with it for a little bit?
Well, I don't know if I've lost you there. Have I still got you?
You gotcha.
Someone was trying to phone me. Well, I started out because I was doing Lightning Lass. I've got another channel, and that was like beauty unboxings and beauty things. And I wanted to do Elvis on it, so I did. I've got lots over there. But the beauty people didn't want to watch Elvis. And then the Elvis people didn't want to watch me unboxing. So it was very like, oh, this is not very good. So then my husband had an idea, like, why don't you do your Elvis channel? And I started it 3-4 years ago. And then it never took off, and it wasn't something I was committed to. So then I stayed with Lightning Lass, but then once Lightning Lass was over and I thought, right, I'm at the end of this channel now and I'm just going to slow it down, I popped over to Elvis Lass then. So I'd been watching loads of reactions, lots. So I'd been watching yours, I'd been watching so many. And I thought, why can't I react to Elvis when I love Elvis? Why can't I do that? And when I did start, I had a lot of people saying in the comments, you can't react to this. It's not your first time. It's not a first time reaction. And so it was very difficult, that part. But I just kept going. And that's how it kind of started.
Well, I get what you're saying about that because, first of all, I'm from the point of view that a reaction is a reaction no matter how many times you've heard it.
Yes, me too.
And I'm telling you what, with Elvis especially, to me, the first time is almost like, I'd say the first 3 listens to each song are almost invalid because you don't even scratch the surface until like the 4th or 5th time. Then you kind of start getting it. So to sit there and say, I think no. And because I asked everybody else too, I said, well, once I run out of Elvis songs, because that's my stone cold mission, what am I going to do? Just goodbye. It was nice knowing you. And they go, no. Then we go through a second wave. And I go, well, no one wants to see that. And they go, yes, they do. Because Elvis, it's an evolutionary thing. I'm sure you've heard many songs before where you're like, I didn't pick that up the first time around.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Well, when I first started it, my husband was my biggest critic because he didn't get it at all. And he's a big, massive Elvis fan. And he said, I don't get it. What you're doing is, I won't watch it. And I was like, right, okay. But it kind of helped me because every time I've had a negative reaction, I'm thinking, well, I've had it from him and I know what it feels like. So now I just give them back the same response. It's a reaction for me. This is how I feel watching Elvis. And I've got a lot of people who come to me and say, yeah, it's like watching with a friend. And
yes.
And actually, I don't feel so weird or so odd because I'm having this reaction to Elvis Presley, which sometimes you can feel like you're on your own a little bit because maybe there isn't a fan club near you or other people who are obsessed like you are. So when you find people who are the obsessed weirdos, you're like, yes, I found my best friend.
I know. You're so right about that because I was at a social event recently and I'm kind of actually an introvert, which everybody thinks you're automatically an extrovert just because you're in front of the camera. In real life, I'm an introvert, so I don't really do like wild and crazy things so I went to this thing and I made my way through it and I'm like, God, I'd rather be talking Elvis with my YouTube people right now. I feel comfortable there. But I think that's the thing about your show though, is your channel, it is like that. It's like you're watching with a friend. It actually is kind of like soothing. I don't know if that's the right word. I mean, it's not like ASMR where we're trying to tune in for the goosebumps, but it is like, it feels like you're sharing your love letter to Elvis with all of us and reminding ourselves why people just became enamored with him to begin with. And I think it's great, though, that actually, I think that's part of the greatness is that you actually have heard this before, that you actually know where you're going with it, because I think, like, I'm kind of the newcomer and you're kind of the established Elvis fan, and you know where you're going. You have such a rich history to why each of these songs means something to you. And I just totally dig it. I totally dig it. And I'm thinking, well, you're very easy to watch in that you're truly in love with what you're hearing. And it's sort of like, I told someone the other day, I go, that's what I watch when I decompress. But as the famous story goes, I want to hear first time reactions. I wait for those. So I tune into your videos of the songs I already reacted to, so I don't give anything away when I react. But when you do, it's like, oh my gosh, this is a nice way to end the day. I'm going to decompress. I'm going to just, and I think I've heard a lot of people react to songs. I would say maybe people react to songs are, it's kind of like an ice cream flavor. Not everybody's going to agree what works for everybody else. I'm sure there are people that just love some of the 20-year-old kids that, get all, but we're kind of, you're a few years younger than me, I would gather. I would never age you. How old are you?
40. I just turned 40 in May then.
Really?
40. Yeah.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
was born in 1. So are you shocked that I'm up? No. Guess what? Someone asked me. He said, can I ask? And I don't mean to be cheeky. And this is asking your age. I said, oh gosh, what's coming? Did you see Aloha from Hawaii live? And I said, no, I wasn't there for Aloha from Hawaii in 1973. I did cry a little. That whole night I did cry a little because I thought that must mean he thinks I'm in my 60s.
Oh
So
my God.
by that part.
No, I thought you were like 30 something or, you know, like, okay, I'm talking to some younger kid.
Oh,
or
thank goodness. I'm glad not the 60s at least.
Well, it's really weird. I've gotten it both ways because I have that like hereditary, you know, bags under the eye that people in my family get. But when I put glasses on, you don't see that. And when I did my first reaction videos, I wore sunglasses because the lights were too bright and I kind of wanted to have this jazzy kind of look. But then they said, we need to see your eyes because that's a big part of it. I'm like, well, that's going to age me 10 years. Boom, you know. So I know I've had people think I was older than I am. And then I had one lady thought I was in my 30s or something. And I'm like, God bless you. I said,
Well, I thought we were the same age. We're kind of in the, you're in.
I think I'm about probably 5 or 6 years older than you. So I turn 50 next year. So
Oh my God.
I know. But you know what? I get comments like on my attitude, though. They go, you seem young by your attitude.
Yeah. Like, well, I would have just said, I thought me and you were the same age. I was thinking you were born in the early 80s. But there you go.
No, 72. And
72?
Yep.
Oh, you walked on the earth when Elvis walked on the earth.
Yes, I was. Let's see, a week after my 5th birthday, he passed away.
Oh.
I remember my mom. My mom loved Elvis, and she said that day, you know, kids, as you know, you're a mother. Kids don't understand the concept of death until a certain age. And I remember really liking the records that she would play for me, even though I don't remember a lot of them because that was so long ago. She said, you're never going to see that nice man again. And I didn't understand what that meant. And then it kind of made me feel sad. It was like you're saying goodbye to a friend or something. And then, you know, my parents, like when I was like 6 or 7, got rid of all their records or something. So I didn't have those Elvis records listened to. So I became like everybody else out there. You hear the main stuff on the radio. And we didn't have YouTube when I was 20. You know what I mean? I could have explored all that. So I feel like I'm so behind in this Elvis thing. I'm like you and Leon, though, when it comes to the Beatles. I could tell you the date they recorded certain songs. So one day I said to Leon, I want to have a Beatles show and have you on it so I could finally be the smart guy in the room.
You should do it.
And but doing this is just the biggest thrill I've ever had. And I could tell on your videos it is for you. I mean, it just... now, I got to ask you this because I've asked everybody this I've interviewed so far. What was the last Elvis song you listened to?
Oh my goodness. Well, do you know, it's not going to be exciting because I've just edited. Well, not. It's because I'm answering all the questions on my latest video. So it's Shake a Hand. But that's only because I've been answering so many questions. So I've been listening to it. But I will tell you this. I listened to, Bridge Over Troubled Water last night. But I am not an earphones kind of girl. I never have been. And I don't know why, but I've just never experienced it. So last night, I thought, let's listen to this crazy note that Elvis does of Bridge Over Troubled Water with my earphones on. This must be the first time I've done this. Well, I was going crazy around the house. And I said to Di, that's my husband, I said, have you ever listened to it? He said, that's the only way to listen to Elvis music. Why have you not done this before? It takes you to another world, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does. You're encapsulated within the Elvis consciousness, kind of. And by the way, I just watched that video of yours with Shake a Hand. You know what that comes across to me, though, that song, and I don't know if this makes sense, because I've said this about a few Elvis songs. There are certain Elvis songs that sound best at nighttime. I don't know why that is. When you've had a long day, some of the 70s stuff sounds really great at night, more so than if it were at noon riding to the beach. There's a night kind of vibe to it. And I was lost within that sound. I was just, and I've reacted to it on my old channel before. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And it was just so, but again, you pick up a couple things. So I'm like, okay, I didn't pick up on this one part of it before. And that's why I don't believe in that one-time reaction and all that, because that would be like saying you just met someone, like a new friend. You went out for a quick coffee.
Yep.
And hi, now tell me everything about that friend.
Exactly.
No, you just got to kind of the bullet points, kind of. It's the subsequent listens that you start, okay, now I'm really getting this. You know, the first one is just ordering your plane ticket. The second, third time you're boarding the flight. After that, your takeoff. And I think that's what I like about your channel, because you play these songs and you do different things with them, but yet you're kind of like what you said, it's like a hangout. It doesn't feel like I'm this person on the screen talking at you. It's more like you're hanging out in the studio with me and we're just listening to this together. And I can't, it's hard to put your finger on it, but I think that's a special thing you got to have. It's based on your personality. I don't think you could fake your way through that. And I think that's why I like, it's like this nice place to go to. And when I asked you to come on, I knew you were kind of hesitant at first, but I'm telling you what, so many people have emailed me about you and saying, have you watched this person? I go, oh yeah. I said, I'm a big fan myself. So it's kind of like I'm a fan geek talking to you in a way, because.
And I was as nervous as you like, I'm a massive introvert. I am not at all out there. So I'm so I would never do interviews. I would never interview people, because I'd love to do that. But no, I could never do it. I would just be too nervous. So when you asked me, I thought, oh, why? And it's kind of like this human nature where you go, who'd want to listen to me talk? Honestly, I was like, why would you want to listen to me talk? I mean, I shouldn't do that. And my husband was like, just do it. It's going to be fun. So I thought, right, let's just bite the bullet and do it. So yeah, I'm doing it, but I am sweating rather a lot.
Well, you know what's weird? It's, I think because when you do your videos, you're just kind of going into your own zone. You know what I mean? And that's why it plays off so naturally. Naturalistic. Yeah. That's a term I would coin your videos. Naturalistic. Nothing pretentious. It's just right there. Someone has a love for Elvis and inviting you to join in that love. But interviews are a little pretentious at times because you're put on the spot a little bit. And that's why I try to make it conversational, because like Leon and I, what we end up doing, we end up starting to joke after a while. And like, before you know it, we're just like talking to each other and forgetting like what's going on. And then I have to go back and edit. Like, I only keep about 20% of what Leon and I talk about, because the other people, they're just not going to care if we go off on the rails and start joking and stuff like that. And Leon is just, I'm sorry.
You'll have to do a blooper reel where you have all your bloopers of you and Leon. Wouldn't that be fun?
That might be pretty fun.
I would absolutely love to see that.
Oh my gosh, we'd have to censor some of it, but no, we get no. But you're right though, because it's funny because that was so great showing Leon and I talking, because before we did this presentation, before they showed Leon and I together, we were always like two people across the pond, and we'd combine our footage to make a video. But then when you see us together, my big fear was, Leon and I do great in our presentations, but are we going to be cool talking to each other? Are we going to come off as bad? And it was so natural. It was, I didn't know what Leon was good, because you don't know, there's the channel you, and then there's the real you.
For sure.
That's why I tell you guys, you probably wouldn't even like me if you met me in real life, because I'd be boring. I would just sit back and be like, that's a cool song. And that's all I would say. But here I kind of let the inner monster out, and just because Elvis can do that to you. Like, have you ever reacted to an Elvis song and say, there's no other artist I would kind of go this crazy over hearing them the way they sing? Like, he could hit a certain note and it's just like, I'm shell shocked or something.
Big time. That's exactly my feeling. And I am very quiet myself, so if I'm in the house, and I'm usually quite a homebody person, so I'm always at home with my husband. But we do have Elvis events that I go to, where we'll have like week-long Elvis events. My husband's going in 2 weeks, the lucky thing, and I'm staying home with the kids.
Oh, where's he going to?
It's Great Yarmouth. And so if anybody's watching and you're from Great Britain, it's where me and my husband met, actually. So it's a week-long festival, and they have Elvis quizzes, Elvis dance lessons, the jive lessons. There's no impersonators at all. There's no ETAs. It's only Elvis. And you'll have Elvis music with DJs every night, 7 till 2 in the morning. We can make the morning, and we do. Yeah, it's just a fantastic week. So.
Oh my God.
No, I know. And there's about 3 in Britain. We have another one in November, and I went to one in July. So we're inundated with so many events. But when I started off telling you about that, it was, I am an introvert. I'm quite quiet. If anybody knows me, they'll know what I'm like at those Elvis events. I'm exactly like I am in the video. I'm on the floor, and I look like a chicken dancing. I was called a chicken once because I'm very army. So yeah, I just go into a world of Elvis in those bubbles, and it's called an Elvis bubble. My friend calls it her Elvis bubble. And when you're in here, you're just crazy in the Elvis bubble. So yeah, he's off next week or 2 weeks. I'm so jealous. Oh, I'll be crying.
Wow. I would be now speak of does he design all those shirts himself? Yeah. That's brilliant.
I know. He's an absolute genius on Photoshop and Illustrator and all the stuff that I don't know what.
Oh my God. For all those of you out there, you got to check these shirts out, and I'll put a link to it on the description box, because I'm telling you what, I was blown away, because you know what I thought? I thought they looked so good. I personally thought they were like licensed by Elvis's estate or something, and you just put a license, but wow, because there were just, I said there are a lot I wanted to get, and I had to narrow it down from like 10 to 2. And oh my gosh. Now, how did that start up? Was it an idea you guys hatched one day, or did it just kind of...
It was just his idea. We were with the kids and stuff, and he was struggling to find work. He had been unemployed, and he's not very good working for a boss. So his natural thing and thoughts were, let's be my own boss, which is, you cut out that problem. So he started thinking about t-shirts, and then obviously a massive obsession of his is Elvis. He's 20 times bigger fan than I am and knows way more than I do. So his natural thought process was that. But you have to be very careful with EPE, because you can't use certain things. So you have to design them yourself, where you're designing a particular thing and making it your own or something.
Yeah, like
different.
You can't crop out a picture of Elvis and put it on it kind of thing. Yeah.
So he had to go around the edges with it. So for example, he had the jumpsuit from the last concert, the sundial. So he's created that, and that's a new one that's coming out, and he's not shown it to anyone yet. And it blew me away when he showed me. I was like, how could you? And it's completely like the sundial, but it's completely not like the sundial. And he put it on a t-shirt the other day, because he's taking it to Elvis Week next week. And I was just blown away by the talent. I don't know how he does it.
Wow. Does he have a graphics design background, or?
No, nothing. Self-taught. Completely self-taught. I know.
Man.
He's watched YouTube for about the last 10 years, just really honing it in. He went on a course, how to screen print, and it was like a whole day course. So he learned a little bit about that. But screen printing on a t-shirt is so much harder to design it, to burn your screen, to then ink the screen, to then wash the screen. There's so many things and elements in it to make this one t-shirt, which is just crazy to me. And he learned that all himself.
Now, is this? Does he have like the equipment himself, or does he source it out, or?
Yeah, when he went for his course, that's when he found all of this. Do you know it's like when you get into the world of Elvis, then you find this, and then you find that,
yeah,
and to this, and I've discovered this, and that's how he kind of went on that course, and then just became little trickles through, and this is how you do it, and he just learned it. I've got a video from when he first started, and he had this horrendous press that he bought off eBay for like £500 or something. And he's doing his first print, and it looked so awful, but it was his first one. And he said, let's just film it at the time. And now we look back on it and think how far he's come. It's just an insane process.
I think that's any time when you're embarking on some kind of passion that I look back on my early reactions, and it's like, I just, no, get that out of here. It's crappy. It's and I'm probably going to look back on the way I'm doing it now a year from now and go, okay, this is primitive right now, what I'm doing. Or, and so that's that artistic mind. But I'll tell you what, I can relate to your husband in that way. Some people are very good at leading their own destiny. And the idea of just having someone else hover over them, not everybody's meant to be an employee of someone. And a lot of people don't get that. It's a certain mindset. It's so I would take it, even though I don't know your husband, I would say he's got an entrepreneurial mind, kind of. He could follow his own North Star. And now I got to ask you this, though, because I did go on there. And I was so excited because I was going to get a couple of them. And then it says we don't ship to the United States right now. And is there ever going to be a day where that happens?
He wants to. I think the problem is with returns. So in the UK, he has so many people, oh, this is the wrong size, or I thought it was a size 14 and I needed it in a size 15. So it's that kind of worry that will then affect his, because at the moment he's got 100% approval. 100% feedback, is that what they call it? And he has insane amounts of feedback that is good. So he's worrying when you open it up, you then open yourself up to, well, if you can't return that t-shirt, then the person's dissatisfied, and it's a whole problem.
It's a Pandora's box kind of thing.
Yes, and he's worried about that part because he's doing so well at the moment, but he wants to. How many requests we have from Germany? That's a major one. Germany love his t-shirts, and we have insane requests. And he still says, I can't, I'm so sorry, I can't. It's hard. But he did say to me, he said, if Brent wants some privately, tell him to email me and I'll send them over, because then it's not through eBay. Do you know? Through
I thought you were just kidding around. You mean you would seriously do that for me? Okay, and and I'll just, what do you want? I could just do it on PayPal or something like that? Or okay.
But because then you know that you're dealing with dye. You can
I would be like, if it takes, and I know it's hard sometimes too, because shirts can run different from different producers.
They do.
You could have like a medium fit one person, but then from another company, the large will be too tight, Yeah. And so that, I can imagine that's what you'd run in. Okay, then I will be hitting you guys up about that, because there were a couple that I just said, I gotta wear it on the, is that okay for me to do that, or?
Well, yeah, and he can also, if you're ever looking for your logo, he could design your logo or anything on a t-shirt. He can do any designs if you think, or even if you just give him an idea, oh, this is what I'd like, he can then come up with something. He's done that. And
for all of you people out there in America that are watching, the only thing I could recommend is that you move to the UK. Then you can get all the shirts delivered.
One day.
God, you know what? Especially if my channel grows or something, I would love nothing more than to go to the UK and like hang out and, do some vlogging and talk Elvis and stuff. I'm already planning that. You know what I'm planning for my 50th, and I hope it goes well? I turn 50 on August 9th. I would love to be down in Graceland, like Elvis Week. I would love to vlog live from there and just...
Yeah, and for the 45th anniversary as well.
Yeah, it fits. Yeah. I got to do it. I better not get struck by lightning within the next few... I don't know. Sometimes when you do that, when you have this ultimate plan, you're like opening it for like something to mess it up. Or
I think we're like twins, because before I went to Elvis in Graceland, I remember just praying every day, please don't let me die today. Just give me one more day to get towards Graceland. And it was ridiculous when I think back. What a silly girl! But you're just thinking, I really need to get there. I really need to get there, and that's all you can think about.
Yeah, and it's weird because I was trying to explain to someone, going to Graceland, it's not like just a cool vacation spot you want to hit or something. And I'm not trying to sound disrespectful toward any of my Muslim friends out there, but it's almost like my version of going to Mecca or something. Like,
Yeah.
I have to go there and connect.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a dumb word, I don't know, but
No, I
connect
think
is what I
it's
feel. Take in that thing of kind of thanking someone that has given me so much that I'll never be able to give him back in 5 lifetimes. And I gotta make it. And for my 50th, you only live once, Michelle, you know. And I don't know, maybe you'd live more time, I don't know, but as far as I know, I'm not going to assume I'm going to be reincarnated. I could just hit it on the next life. I got to go this time. And
my husband done the same. When he turned 42, he felt this urge to go because Elvis passed at 42, and he'd never been before. Di had never been to Graceland, and he just was like, I'm heading for my 42nd birthday. I'm going to do it, and he did it. And he went 2012. He went, and he had the best time of his life. He went himself again. Can you believe that? Left me with the baby.
wait, you didn't go?
No, I've been twice before, but I couldn't go. I just had the baby, and he was only like about.
And
9 months.
it would be hard to travel. Like,
He comes first, so that was just. But then he went and enjoyed it. He had the best time of his life, and he phoned me from the jungle room, so I will always love him for that. He said, "I'm standing in the jungle room, baby." So I love that.
That's awesome. Yeah. That is awesome. Now, are your children, have they been exposed to Elvis?
Yeah, well, I put on my personal Facebook last week, my son Eddie, my firstborn, he was watching 𝘓𝘓 with me through his iPad. You know what they're like, kids nowadays. He was like with his iPad like this and his eyes looking above the iPad. And he said to me, "Mummy, this isn't an Elvis movie." And I said, "Why?" And he went, "Elvis isn't in it." And I was like, do you know what? He's not in it enough at all. So that's coming up in my trailer review. 𝘓𝘓, there's not enough Elvis in that movie. And that's a 9-year-old that says that.
That is awesome. Wow. So, you know, and it's so cool that there are so many couples out there that where one has an affinity for one thing and the other person, they might be supportive of that person's passion, but they themselves aren't into it. But when you could both bond on that, that's got to be amazing.
Well, I've been married before, so this is my second marriage. My first marriage was that he didn't like Elvis. He wasn't into Elvis. So I found my Elvis collecting, going to Elvis events did subside. But since I've met Di, it's really opened up and blossomed again. So that's been a lovely thing because you do have someone who's like-minded. But also, Di won't mind if I go to Elvis Week for a week without him. He's okay with that. Whereas my first husband might have been, we're going to go on holiday together somewhere. But my Di understands, well, Elvis is very important. So you need to go for that. And I understand that it's important for him to go to his Elvis Week and have his week. So I think you have a little bit of understanding of each other because of that passion that we both have. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not saying you can't make it with, but you're just... My love of Elvis did not end my first marriage. Not at all. So in the divorce court, did they sit there and say, well, you know, on the grounds of not liking Elvis Aaron Presley, I hereby side with Michelle? Yeah. And no. Not to send out the wrong message to everybody. You know, for those of you who have a spouse that's not into Elvis, get out of it now. Run. Yeah. But also, we were able to, do you know, like being both fans, when we had our firstborn, we said we need to have an Elvis name. We've got to have something. But then we decided on Eddie, which is his grandfather. So that was just a lovely thing. But on our second child, we said, has to be an Elvis connection. Has to be. And so it was Garen. So straight away we knew it was going to be Garen from Jesse Garen, Elvis's twin brother. And so we knew. And I thought, I'd always loved that we both could have decided that so easily. Yeah. And never eyelid. And I thought, yes, this will always be. Because it's great. Okay. Thank you so much, Michelle. She'll be back next week. So make sure you tune in.
what a lovely human being. And her husband sounds like he is so big time cool, as well as ultimately talented. I mean, that's awesome. All right, so what we're going to do now is we are going to go into the auditorium for some reaction time. This week, Elvis and Me, the story of Priscilla and her life with Elvis Presley, filmed in '87, made for TV movie that was aired in 1988, and it's 3 hours long, so we're going to be spreading this over the next few episodes, so we're not going to be taking it all in at once. Now, there's a couple things I got to go over with. There's a trigger scene for some of you out there, just to let you know that there's a scene where someone's being attacked in a car, and it's not extremely gory. It's not gory or anything, but it is violent, so just let you know that that's in there. And also, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I mean, Elvis meets Priscilla at age 14, and there's a couple scenes where they're not having sex, but they're being intimate with each other. And mind you, the actress was in her 20s when it was filmed, but just to let you know that, different standards back then. This was Priscilla's Presley's story, and it's not graphic or anything. This was safe to air on TV, so in '88. So, but just letting you guys know that that's going to be in there. So, without further ado, here we go. 1988, Elvis and Me. Let's step into the auditorium. Okay, I gotta ask, is this part of an Elvis song I haven't heard yet, or is this just like stock guitar sounds that they had to use to avoid copyright? Let me know, please.
Come back, baby, I wanna play house with you. Well, you may go to college, or you may go to school, or you may have a pink Cadillac, but don't you be nobody's fool. Now, baby, come back, baby, come. Come back, baby, come. Come back, baby, I wanna play house with you. Now listen to me, baby, what I'm talking about. Come on back to me, little girl, so we can play some house now. Baby, now come back, baby, come. Come back, baby, come.
Is this the original version? It sounds a little different.
I wanna play house, yeah.
When did I first hear the name Elvis Presley? When did it start? I remember everybody was talking about him, and there were Elvis Bobby socks and bubblegum cards and hound dog orange lipstick. There were pictures of him that glowed in the dark. But it really started for me when my father was transferred to Germany. Just one moment on one summer day when I was 14 years old. And my life changed forever.
Teddy bear, Teddy, turn out the light. Teddy bear, Teddy, say goodnight.
Going away.
What?
Gotta pack all our stuff. We're moving.
What are you talking about?
I'm We're moving.
Wiesbaden. That's where we'll be stationed.
The people talk American. Honey, all the kids will be just like you, and everything will be in English.
Don't you want to see your Scylla?
I don't want to leave my friends.
Oh, Scylla.
Why do we have to leave now? Everything is going so good. All we do is move, move, move. I could stay here. No, I could live with Pam and her parents.
Scylla, we are not leaving you here. We're a family.
So, well, some things are hard. But you gotta know sooner or later, it all works out for the best.
Do we all have that fantasy when we're young? That our parents aren't our real parents? That there's some mystery about our birth? That the real father is a faraway, unapproachable, handsome prince? Suddenly it became a reality. I found love letters to my mother. I saw the photograph, my mother and this strange man. And me when I was a baby.
Mother? Mother?
Listen, honey.
Who's this? Who's the man in the picture with you?
I mean, if you want to pack this stuff or maybe just leave it.
I'll be right there, honey. Honey, I meant to tell you this a million times, and
Daddy's not my real father, is he?
oh, Scylla.
I knew I didn't belong.
Hey, please let me explain. Please, listen. I wanted to tell you. Honey, it haunted me. I just couldn't upset the apple cart. It had gone on for too long. Your real father was Lieutenant James Wagner.
I don't want to hear it.
Silly, you gotta listen to me. I met him at the USO. He was a Navy pilot. 2 years later, we were married, and then you were born. He was flying home to see you, and his plane crashed. He was killed. I was only 15 years old when I first met him. I snuck out of the house in my mother's high heels. It was my first love. So please don't tell the other children or Dad anything about this.
Yeah, that's a lot to lay on a
Of
kid.
course, you promise me.
Dad?
Honey, I will be right there.
Hey, all my troops have disappeared. What's going on in here?
Nothing. It's just moving.
Well, I want to get everything stacked and ready for storage by tomorrow morning. Let's get this show on the road.
Well, I have the kitchen almost finished.
I was going through my albums. Found this one you like. Remember, it's got that song? Golden Days. Student Prince. Anyway, I've had it a long time. Why don't you take it? Reading this article about Mario Lanza someplace. It seems like he's really a sad, kind of a lonely man. I know this move is hard for you, son. Just gotta go the whole 9 yards with it. You'll make new friends. You'll see. Yeah, that's my girl.
Why do all the ladies in this building go around all day in their nightgowns?
Well, you know, honey, we really didn't ask too many questions. It's very hard to get housing here.
Yes, is this my good boy? Is this my good boy?
You saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own.
When I look back, those first days in Germany should have been exciting. But at the time, all I could think of was being back in Austin with my friends. Everything was strange, foreign. Every day after school, I'd grab my brother and we'd go to the club for American service families. I'd play the jukebox and write letters home and practically drown in tears. Except one day. One day they were having an Elvis Presley look-alike contest.
Well, it's one for the money, two for the show. Three to get ready now. Go, 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 the torch. Step on my blue suede shoe.
I wonder just how many guys back then did everything they could to try to mimic him, you know what I mean? I can only imagine.
Nice to see you smile. You an Elvis fan?
Well, it's one for the money, two for the show. Three to get ready now. Go, cat, go, but don't you get the horse. Step on my blue suede shoe.
Real Elvis is a good friend of mine. Scout's honor, he's stationed over at Freedburg. I didn't get a chance to introduce myself. I'm Curry Grant, with special services in charge of entertainment here at the club. I wish I wasn't. You play rock and roll on Thursdays. Can you come?
John, save me a seat!
I'm sorry.
If you want to see the show, just let me know.
Oh, thanks.
I've seen you here. I know you're homesick. You and my wife ought to get together. She's homesick, too. Hey, you want to go over to Elvis's house with us sometime?
Are you kidding? Me?
No, I'm not kidding. We go over there almost every night if he's living over in Bad Nauheim.
Well, I don't know. I mean, well, I don't think my parents.
Well, they wouldn't let you.
Not my parents.
on, Hurley. Start it up. Let's go.
Well, that's a shame. It'd be fun for you.
Tell it to my parents.
You want us to?
You mean you'd really talk to them?
Sure, why not?
Thanks.
Colonel Carlson tells me you're doing a great job over there at Special Services.
I enjoy it. Meet a lot of talented people. That's how I met Elvis.
You know, we want you to know that we very much appreciate your kindness to Priscilla. It's just that, well, my husband and I have never really thought very much of Elvis Presley.
All that shaking around.
All I can say is he's as fine a person as you're ever going to meet.
He really is. Everyone loves him.
I see your little girl at the club always writing her letters home, and my heart just went out to her. I told my wife, I thought, this will cheer her up. At least give her something to tell her friends about.
Did you say that Mr. Presley lives with his father?
Mm-hmm. And his grandmother. Whole family. We all just sit around and listen to him sing. Yeah, it's right up here on the left. No problem. Just give me your picture. That way. Back up. Take it.
This is it?
You'll take care.
I mean, I thought it was going to be a mansion or something.
This is it. Come on. Okay. Excuse us. Little through, girls. Sorry. Thank you, Demont. Cheryl?
Come on in. How you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Carol.
Vernon Presley, this is Priscilla Beaulieu.
Oh, hi, Priscilla.
Hi.
Nice to meet you, dear.
Can we take her on in?
Oh, come on in. Make yourself at home. I think they're going to be jamming in there in a little while.
Take a deep breath. Say, Joe.
Well, what do we have here?
Elvis, this is Priscilla Beaulieu, little gal I told you about.
Hi, I'm Elvis Presley. Come over here. So you go to school?
Yes.
What are you, junior? Senior in high school?
Ninth
Ninth what?
grade.
Ninth grade. Why, you're just a baby.
I am not. It's just this stupid sailor dress I wore. I don't even know why I wore it.
Hey, little girl's got some spunk. Here, sit down. Sit down. Anyway, I like that sailor dress. You're the first girl I've met from the States in a long time. What are the kids listening to?
You, of course.
What about you?
Oh, I listen to Mario Lanza. I mean, sometimes.
That's okay. I like Mario Lanza, too.
Yeah, that was a cheesy angle they just did, not that close up.
You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much of love drives a man insane. You broke my will, but what a thrill. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. I loved your love cause I thought it was funny. You came along and moved me, honey. I changed my mind, this love is fine. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Are you sorry we drifted?
Okay, for those of you who are really into the detail of Elvis, wouldn't his hair have been shorter? Wasn't it shorter when he was in the service, or did they let it grow out? And I mean, I know it's not a major important point, but that's just, I don't know. I'm not sure. So let me know in the comment section.
Does your memory stray to a bright summer day when I kissed you and called you sweetheart? Do the chairs in your parlor seem empty and bare? Do you gaze at your doorstep and picture me there? Is your heart filled with pain? Shall thy come back again? Tell me, dear, are you lonesome tonight?
Okay, did you have fun? Tell us.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you for letting me go. Well, what was he like? Oh, he was nice, and he was polite, and he was funny. Oh, I met his father, and I also met his grandma, only he called the Dodger because, see, when he was this little boy, he had a temper tantrum, and he threw a baseball at her, and she dodged, and it missed her by 3 inches. Are you lonesome tonight? Oh, do you miss me tonight? Oh, it was like he was singing just for me. Oh.
Honey, Curry just called, and he said that Elvis wants to see you again.
Really? When?
Tonight.
Well, what will I wear, Mother? Can I please borrow something of yours?
Honey, do you have any idea why he wants to see you again?
Well, he probably wants to ask me about records and what kids like and stuff like that.
Honey, I just do not feel right about this.
It's true. He's just afraid of Fabian and Ricky Nelson.
You'll be back by 11 o'clock, young lady, or the axe is gonna fall.
I will. I promise.
Stand that woman. She's out to get my daddy, and she's doing a good job of it. My mama would turn over in her grave. Come on, let's get out of here. Hey, Dodger, look at these hands. Look at this. No, look at this nose. Look. No. Perfect little nose. So tell me about yourself. How long's your dad been in the Air Force?
All my life. He's a real military man, you know. Kind of strict.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. When we lived in Austin, I had to quit being a cheerleader because he didn't want me to go to the games out of town. My mother, too. She won't let me wear all red or all black because she thinks those colors are too, you know, sexy.
Too what?
Sexy.
That's pretty strict, all right.
Another thing my parents always getting on to me about is school. I hate school. Most of all, I hate math. And German. German is a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be.
Skip school. You want to be an actress? I'll call up Hal Wallace right now, and I'll get you an audition.
No.
No?
I don't want to be an actress. I mean, I would die getting up there in front of people and cameras. I hate that.
You miss your friends, don't you? Don't you worry. I'll be your friend. How about that? Priscilla, I want to be alone with you.
Me?
Yes. You.
I can't be late. I promised my dad.
Don't say no. Don't say no. Why don't you come upstairs? There's nothing to be frightened of. I would never do anything to hurt you. I just want to talk. Please. You go on ahead. No. I'll come up later. Okay? It'll look better. Why don't you come over here and sit down? Come on. There's nothing to be frightened of. Come on, I just want to talk. I like you, Priscilla. The first minute I saw you, I felt close. You know, like I could talk to you about things that I couldn't talk to other people about. I used to talk to my mama, and she'd always listen and understand. I wish she could have met you. I think she would have liked you as much as I like you.
I wish I could have met her, too.
Don't get nervous. I'm just getting comfortable. I'll be going back to the States soon. Back to Graceland. I don't know what it's going to be like without Mama there. When I got drafted, it was like she just sort of gave up on life. She was so afraid something was going to happen to me. Germany meant nothing but war and and danger as far as she was concerned. We were awful close. She could sense things. You know, like if I was in an accident or something. I could be miles away, and she'd just rear up out of bed, screaming my name. I should have been with her. It's hard for me now. I loved her more than I could ever explain. You know something? That's the strangest kind of thing. But I feel safe with you, 𝘓𝘪. For the first time since Mama died, I feel safe.
I'm not even allowed to watch you on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Don't you worry, honey. I won't do anything to upset your mama or your daddy. Or Ed Sullivan either.
Well, you better have a good explanation, young lady. 20 minutes late.
I'm sorry, the fog was bad.
What were you doing all this time?
Just talking.
Did Curry bring you home?
Yes, I told you he would.
I don't like it. Somebody picking you up and bringing you home. You dance with the guy that brung you. If Elvis Presley wants to see you again, he's gonna have to come here and meet the family. Look here. I'm gonna be blunt. What are your intentions? Come on, you're Elvis Presley. You've got women throwing themselves at you. Why our daughter? She's only 14.
Well, sir, I'm very fond of her.
The time you spend together, what do you do?
I think what my husband means is what...
Anne, I mean, what do you do?
I told you. Talk.
Sir, Priscilla's mature for her age, and I like her company. It's been kind of lonely. You know, being away from home and all. And I guess you might say I need somebody to talk to. You don't have to worry about her, Captain. I'll take good care of her.
Well, I might as well make this clear. If you want to see Priscilla again, you'll have to pick her up and bring her home.
Sir, the only problem with that is by the time I get off duty, go home, clean up, drive over here and back, well, the evening's gone. And I wondered if you wouldn't mind if my daddy picks Priscilla up.
And I'd be happy to do that, sir.
But you'll bring her home.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Anybody see my guitar pick?
It's upstairs on the night table next to your bed. I'll get it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Lordy, 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 Miss Claudia, gal, you sure look good to me. Well, please don't excite me, baby, now. You know it can't be me.
Wouldn't touch that woman with a 10-foot pole. It's not my type. Like brunettes with blue eyes.
I bet your girlfriend Anita's beautiful. DeMont said she won a beauty contest out in Memphis.
I think I'm gonna get those little...
Well, folks, looks like it's that time again. This is Armed Forces Radio. Saying so long until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Till then, sweet dreams.
Let's line up, too. I have to go.
Not now. No. I need you here. I need you here with me. You don't want me to sleepwalk, do you?
Sleepwalk?
Mm-hmm. And hell, you leave me alone here, I might just take a walk. One night I sleepwalked straight out into the street in my underwear.
When? When did you do that?
I was about 9 years old. Neighbors saw me, took me back home. Another time I almost fell out a window. It got so bad I had to start sleeping with my mama and my daddy.
You did not.
I did too. Till I was almost grown up. So you better stay here.
I know the actress is older, but this is like really, I'm not.
Because I don't want to be alone.
I can't get close enough. I just want to crawl up inside your chest and stay there.
I have no feelings. I want to get closer too. It's driving me crazy. We can't do this.
Why? Why can't we?
My daddy keeps reminding me of your age. It'll be the end of my career.
Nobody has to know.
Oh, we can't take those. We can't take those kind of chances. I don't care if Dennis drives you home. I got a report at 4 a.m.
There's some cringy kind of things going on there. Oh. Like I said, if this were anyone but Elvis, people would have found this wrong on every level.
What's going on?
Oh, come on, man.
Dennis.
Yeah?
No.
No what?
Don't do that. Stop it. What are you doing?
Oh, just playing.
Dennis, stop it or I'll tell Elvis.
Oh, maybe I'll have to tell your dad about you and Elvis locked up in that room all the time.
Fine, get out! Get your hands off me!
That's right. Kick his ass. Yeah. Get out of there, Priscilla.
Look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for that to happen. Really, just get in the car and I'll take you home. I won't touch you.
See, I don't think they were cognizant of this back then, but female and males at a certain age, their brain is not fully developed. They can't take on the emotional overload that relationships had. I just don't think they knew that back then. Because I'm trying to think of everything she experienced in that one night. That's got to be like just the weight of the world and so confusing and everything else.
Honey, is that you? Come on up now.
Is something wrong, Priscilla?
Oh, no, I'm just tired. I studied all night for that test.
Hey, Priscilla. Vinny Beach is having a party this weekend. Will you come with me?
I can't.
Are you crazy? That is the cutest boy in the whole school. Do you already have a boyfriend or something?
No, I'm just not interested in that. He's such a kid.
Oh.
I need you.
He reminded me of you.
Well, that's the kind of part I want to play.
I like the part when that guy said, "What are you rebelling against?"
Yeah, Brando looks at him, and he says, I don't know. What do you got? No, it's a great movie. I know all the dialogue. Okay, time to move. I always wanted to be the star. Like Brando or Jimmy Dean, Hormel, Rod Steiger. A real actor.
But you are. You're the greatest person that's ever walked this side of the earth.
You think so, huh?
Yes, to me you are.
Colonel keeps telling me what's important is the money. Money doesn't mean anything. Who knows where I'll end up? I want to be something more.
Well, you've got more looks, and more talent, and more class, and more intelligence than anybody. So there.
So there. You're so pretty, honey. So pretty, sweet, and innocent. can trust you, can I, Sam?
Of course you can.
I'll be leaving here soon. And you'll get a boyfriend after I'm gone.
No, I won't. Nobody could ever be like you. I wouldn't let anybody else even touch me. I wouldn't. You've got to believe me.
Take it easy.
I just want you to know that.
Hey, E, it's getting close to 11 o'clock.
I just want to say goodbye.
Well, aren't you going to take me home?
Oh, I want to. Maybe I'll only have to be up at 4:30. Makes it kind of tough. And Dennis will give you a ride. What's the matter? What's the matter?
I don't want Dennis to drive me home anymore.
What's the matter?
Dennis, he tried.
Hey.
He tried.
I'm gonna kill him.
No, we have to keep it a secret.
What are you talking about?
He'll tell my parents about us being alone together in your bedroom. Elvis, he'll never let me see you again.
He's not gonna live to tell anybody nothing.
I don't know what she's been telling you, ma'am, but nothing happened. Nothing.
I'm gonna float you down a rotten river. How'd you like that, man?
Hey, she came on to me. She's been coming on to me since day one.
Stop! Go!
Hillbilly.
Joe! Come on! Hurry!
That's right, Elvis. Kick his ass, man. I want to see Elvis pulverize this guy. Come on, Elvis. Let that southern temper kick in. Yeah.
Hold on, E. That's enough. That's enough. All right. It's over.
You never go near her again, bastard. Our has been, man. Take me.
Was this a fictional character or not? If he were real, let me know what happened to this guy in real life.
I am sure nothing is going on. Priscilla would lie to me.
Why not? She's lying to everybody else. Principal tells me she fakes all our homework, forges our signature on the report cards. I'm telling you, I wish I'd never heard the name of Elvis Presley.
Oh, Paul, he's a nice boy.
Boy? He's not a boy. He's 24 years old.
Voice down. She's going to hear you.
I don't care who hears me. I'm a father. I've got a right to know. What is this international damned rock and roll hood doing with a 14-year-old schoolgirl?
We have been through this a million times. Look, I have got breakfast to cook, kids to get off to school. You just stop it. Don, Michelle.
I'm on my way. I had to be at school kind of early.
You wait just one damn minute here.
I can't talk now.
You can't keep this up. These late nights, falling asleep in your classes.
Dad, I'm going to be late.
Now, you listen to this, Priscilla. You're going to shape up or ship out. I have had it. Your schoolwork is suffering. You're suffering. No more Elvis.
And thank you very much. We'll be back with more of Michelle, Elvis next week. Leon, we also have a couple different segments making their debut in the ensuing weeks. So this format is not just going to totally stay the way it is. We're going to evolve and do all kinds of cool things. So please stick around, and also please tell your friends about us. We'll also be continuing our screening of Elvis and me as well. So hope to see you next week. God bless all of you. I love you guys so much. Get your piece of the peace. TCB.